All right, everybody. I can't believe another Tuesday is here, and you know what that means. It's another episode or edition of Modern Agent Blueprint. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate every one of you, and excited to have you all with us. We have an amazing guest today, but before I introduce the guest, I wanted to play our little 1 minute video about Modern Agent Blueprint that kind of shows some of our, this is kind of our infomercial. So if you're not a member of Modern Agent Blueprint, find us on Facebook and join. And I'm going to play our little video real quick.
Woo! It's go, 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 go time. Tick, tick, boom. Who bringing the noise? Go, baby, we bringing our toys. Separate men from the boys. Chopper be singing, she'll be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out. Rowdy. We getting rowdy, rowdy. Rowdy. We getting rowdy, rowdy. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go hit, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. Tick, tick, boom. Hard body, body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this. So it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. Rowdy, we getting rowdy, rowdy. Rowdy, we getting rowdy, rowdy. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go hit, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. Woo! It's go, 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 go time. Tick, tick, boom.
One of the things that frustrated me so much about the industry is there's so much great information, but it wasn't systematized. That's what I love about the Modern Agent Blueprint is they really bring people in and they bring systems in to help do this. And this is what we've been collaborating and working on together.
Love it.
I love it. Adorable.
I love it.
You guys
Love
like
it.
that?
So cute.
So good.
That was our isn't that like our brand new reveal premiere of that commercial?
I think it was. I posted it, but that's the first time I played it before one of
I
our Modern
love
Agent
it.
Blueprints. And we're going to keep updating it with all the new guests.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's our goal, is to provide high quality guests. We're not trying to sell a bunch of stuff. We're really all about bringing value and collaboration. And that's
And it's
that brings us
free.
to our next guest. And Nicole's going to go ahead and introduce him to
Yes.
us.
So I think the best part about it is it's free. So I know there's a lot of these mastermind calls where you're being charged upwards of $100 to come and learn stuff from some of these great agents or great vendors, and we're providing you that for free. So thank you guys all for joining. If you have friends who are not part of the Modern Agent Blueprint, get them in the group. Lee, I think he posted the link in the chat, or he will. But I am so excited. So our guest today is John Darden, and I have been following him on social media pretty much, I think, since I got my license. So a few years now. And I've just watched you like get better and better and better. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really want him on here. He does a fantastic job on social media, and he's just doing a great job in general. So he is 15 years in the business. He began in the crash of 2008. But he ran the highest producing team in his market. He started his own brokerage in 2016, and he does speaking engagements and trainings, but not coaching. That's a key here. And he's a husband and a dad of 2 boys who are 9 and 8 months old, and they are adorable. So John, without further ado, welcome.
Thank you, Nicole, for that introduction. I'm honored to be here. This seems like an awesome crew. I've been following Nicole for a long time as well, and to watch your journey is really cool. And I appreciate the invitation to come and join you all and be here with you today. I always say I will do my best not to waste any of your time. Nicole told me about 45 minutes. And one of the things I did not mention to Nicole, and I don't talk about this often because it comes with a lot of baggage, which I understand, is I used to be a pastor. I used to be a preacher. And one of my things was, if I can't tell you in 20 minutes what I need to tell you, then I don't have anything important to tell you. So 45 minutes is going to be a stretch for me, but I'll do my best here. And please don't judge the negative side of my former pastor life. I'm a much more open-minded individual. Glad to be here. Like I said, honored to be here. And it seems like you all are an incredible crew that probably knows most of what I'm going to discuss and talk about today. So maybe really in the end here, I'm just going to remind you of some things that you already know, and maybe we can have some decent discussion in the end. Here's what we know for 2023. However, it's going to be hard. Right? We know that. Everybody's talking about how things are much more challenging in 2023 than they have been the last couple of years. We had a lot of COVID realtors, right? And maybe some of you are part of that group where COVID hit, you switched careers, and real estate really was a lot easier than it probably ever has been. It's almost as if you breathed in the correct direction, you're going to find a ready, willing, and able buyer and seller. And we all know you put a house on the market, even if it's way overpriced, it's still probably going to get multiple offers, sell well over asking price. We're not doing much negotiation. You could just be straight with your buyers. Like, look, if you want it, you better offer 50 grand over. If you don't, sorry, I'm going to find somebody else that does. Life has been easy the last couple of years, but already 2023 is proving it's not as easy as it has been. And that's not a bad thing in my opinion, which means, I'm desperately trying to get over the winter cold crud. So if I sneeze and cough every now and then, just ignore it. But 2023 is going to be much more challenging than probably many of you have ever experienced in your real estate career. Now, I say I'm fortunate, or I was dumb enough to get into real estate during the Great Recession of 2008. And it was very hard back then. Just a show of hands or in the discussion, was anybody selling real estate back in 2008 to 2009 time period? Mark, I see that hand. Lee. So you all remember the challenge of the 2008-2009 time period. You could put a beautiful home up for sale, well under market value, and it would sit for 6, 7, or 8 months, and you'd give away the kitchen sink, maybe your firstborn child, and it still wouldn't sell, right? Things were just more challenging back then. Looks as though, and don't take my word for it, I'm no economist, but Dr. Lawrence Young at NAR talks about this a lot, and many economists and real estate experts discuss the fact that we're probably moving into somewhere in between the chaos of the COVID years and not anywhere near the 2008-2009 recession, but somewhere in the middle, which means that many of us are going to have to pick up new habits, new routines. For those of you that were selling pre-COVID, you're going to have to remember what it was like to do the things it takes to find ready, willing, and able buyers and sellers. And more specifically today, what Nicole has asked me to talk about is where to find and work with your dream customers, the people that you actually want to work with versus the people that you're just going to work with them because you got them. I like to use this analogy because it's a little bit inappropriate. So if it's too inappropriate, I don't think it will be for this crew. I see some of the stuff Nicole posts. She toes the line sometimes too. You have lead gen and you have dream customer attraction. Lead generation is the guy that goes to the bar and he just wants to take somebody home with him. He doesn't care who. He just wants to take somebody home. Like, he's there for one purpose. I'm hooking up with somebody. And so he employs all kinds of strategies and goes around and this person and this person and this person. He throws some game at this person and he just straight up asks this person. He gets slapped a few times in the face. He gets a drink thrown at him, maybe even a bottle potentially smashed over his head. But eventually he finds the one. He does. He finds the person after going through the whole stinking bar that is on the same warpath that he is on. Now, maybe this person is not who he really wanted to take home with him, but he found the person. So you know what? We'll stick with it. Let's go. Dream customer attraction, which is the focus of what we're talking about today, is the person at the bar that everyone is coming up to, that everyone just beelines like a laser beam straight to, because that person, for whatever reason, is putting out the correct vibe that is attracting the people that they want to come to them. And so that person then gets to pick and choose the people that they would, from the inappropriate analogy here, like to go home with, if you will allow me to continue that analogy. There's nothing wrong with either one. They both work. They both get the job done. And when you're new in the business, you got to go the lead gen route, right? Like you just have to employ some of those tactics. You have to do some lead generation. But if you're 3, 4, 5 years in the business and you're still having to focus on lead generation, you're doing something wrong. At some point, we have to transition to attracting our dream customer, where people, the right people, are coming to us and saying, hey, I need to buy. Hey, saw your post on Instagram. I actually need to sell. When can we meet up? As opposed to you having to go around and beat down doors and do all of the things that you hate doing that eventually burn you out and run you out of the industry. So let's define what a dream customer is. And I don't have a PowerPoint here. I don't have anything to share on the screen. Tactically, what I know is I'm going to throw a ton of information out at you today. A lot, way too much, drinking from a fire hydrant. Latch on to 1 or 2 things that go in your brain. Yep, that's it. That's the thing. Like I can ignore the other 30 minutes of what he had to say, but I can latch on to that one thing or those 2 things. So tactically, I'm not putting things up on the screen, so you're not frantically jotting down notes. Something's going to pop in that's going to go, yep, that's the one. Let's define the term dream customer. Super simple. Your dream customer is the person that you want to work with, and it's easy for you to work with that person. You want to work with them, and we'll discuss more about what that means in a minute. And it's easy for you to work with them. We've all had clients that you're never going to follow up with again. You hope they don't refer you. You don't care if they fall off the face of the earth. It was a nightmare transaction. You were butting heads the entire time. Nothing was smooth. Nothing was easy. You couldn't stand them. They couldn't stand you. We've all had clients on the flip side that it was just smooth. I mean, you all looking through homes, you had fun. You enjoyed the process when you were helping them stage the home to get it ready to put it on the market. I mean, it was just a process that was enjoyable for you, for the client. It really didn't feel like work. It's because one of those was your dream customer. One of those was not. Let's use an old school method of lead gen. And I say old school, I'm still a big proponent that this works. I know that many agents are not. Whatever your affinity or lack of affinity is for this, that's great. Just go with me here. Let's say you're going to hold an open house. And I'm going to assume that you do a fantastic job of marketing your open house for 5 to 7 days before the open house begins so that you can get lots of folks through the door. And I'm also going to make the assumption that you are good at communication, you're good in conversation, and you're good at building rapport. So I'm going to make some assumptions here that you got some good scripts, that when someone walks in the door, you've got a methodology of how you're going to communicate with them, and that you're good at creating connections with people. Let's say that in a 2-hour open house, you get 15 different groups through, some families, some individuals. So 15, and you had conversations with all 15 of them. 5 of those conversations were a complete and utter nightmare. I mean, those people didn't want to give you the time of day. They were rude to you. You tried to build rapport. There was just something that was off. I mean, it was beating your head against the wall. You hated having conversation with them. Clearly, there was no connection. Something was off. Another 5, it's a little bit, we're not sure, right? Like you had a decent conversation, could go either way. It was a little bit challenging, but you were able to build a smidge of rapport with those folks, and you don't mind following up with them on a Monday morning. but still it didn't feel really easy. And then another 5, it was butter, smooth, an easy process. And they walked in the door, you created a conversation, they engaged with you, you found some commonality, you were able to discuss some things other than real estate, and it was a great conversation, and you thought to yourself, I want to be this person's friend. Big key there. I want to be their friend. I want this person in my life. And isn't that what real estate really should be about? You're not selling anything. You're not creating a product that you're packaging and trying to move off the shelf. You're trying to find legitimate relationships, legitimate friendships. That's what makes the business easier. You're not selling, you're creating relationships. And some people, like the first 5, you can't create a relationship with them. The next 5 were unsure. The final 5, it was easy. And you all have experienced this before. Maybe the first time you met your significant other, maybe it didn't go this way, but maybe you met them and it was just like, ooh, yeah, I like this. Or that friend that the first time you met, or the first time you went to coffee or whatever. I mean, it was just, there was no challenge in it. You all had so many commonalities. You laughed, you connected. There were a lot of similarities, and it was just easy. Your dream customer is like that final 5 group of people where it was just easy. And that's when the business is beautiful. Some of you, say you've been in the business for a couple of years, or you're a newbie, or maybe you've been in the business for a little bit or a little while, and you still are having to scratch and claw for every single transaction, every single person, every single client. You probably are not focused on attracting the people that you want to work with and that it's easy to work with. You're not doing the things that bring the right people to you. Instead, you're beating down the doors of all these people who really probably don't want to connect with you anyway. And so you are having to scratch and claw and smash your way through the awkwardness, the frustration, and the business, therefore, is not fun. And you're like, why do I do this? This is dumb. Like, there's way easier ways to make 80 grand a year than what I'm doing right now. You're probably not attracting your dream customer. So again, lead generation is need to buy or sell, 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 need to buy or sell. You know anybody that needs to buy or sell? You know anybody that needs to buy or sell? Out of everybody you know, who would be the next to make a move? And those aren't bad things, right? That's not bad to do that. Some of that needs to be employed in your business, but that is the direct opposite of attracting the right type of person. Now, when I say the right type of person, one of the things that I discovered when I got into real estate early on, and I was young, I was in my early 20s. I looked like I was 13 years old. I could not grow a beard to save my life. My voice was just beginning to crack, probably late bloomer, if you want to call me that. But people looked at me and didn't trust me, right? Because I looked young and I sounded young. And 15 years ago, if you were in your 20s selling real estate, good luck. Like, the society was not open-minded to a young type of realtor. You needed to be much older at that point to be successful in real estate. So I found myself only focusing on other 22, 23, 24-year-olds. And at the time, if you know anything about the economy going on, then 22, 23, and 24-year-olds were not buying homes. Lee and I think it was Mark, you all probably remember that the minimum credit score at that time to purchase was around 740. That was the minimum credit score to be approved to buy a home. And there weren't too many 24-year-olds with 740 credit scores. There weren't too many wealthy 50-year-olds with 740 credit scores at that time. So I found myself attracting the wrong kind of person. I had my friends coming to me and we tried to get them approved, and there was no way. So the people I was surrounded by, the people I was attracting, they were not able to buy homes. And of course, they didn't own a home, and their parents weren't going to trust me to sell the home that they lived in. They were trying to hire somebody who was closer to their age and had similar interests to them. I was nothing like them. I was like my friends who couldn't afford to buy a home. So I was attracting people, and you all are attracting people. Everything that you do, you're attracting a certain kind of person. If you don't like who you are attracting, then you might have to do what I did. I had to look in the mirror and go, okay, John, it's time to level up as a human being. It's time to get better. It's time to start communicating different things. It's time to stop acting like a post-grad and start acting like an adult. Start acting like a successful person. So I bought a home. I bought an investment home. And all of a sudden, the people I was attracting, they had 740, 750 credit scores and were interested in investing, and they started to trust me. How did I do that? We'll get there in just a minute. Now it's your turn to do some things. I want you all to define who your dream customer is. And if you have a pen and piece of paper or your phone or iPad or whatever, something to take some notes on, I want you to answer some of these questions, because this is the crux of what we are attempting to do. We have to understand who is it that is really your dream customer. And then we'll analyze if that dream customer is actually going to benefit you in your business or not. So answer some of these questions. When it comes to who your dream customer is, first and foremost, what are they terrified of? What are they afraid of? What does your dream customer lay in bed at night worried about? Let me prompt you with some things. For me, I'm 37, 2 kiddos, 9, 8 months. So my children's safety and education is at the forefront of my mind on a daily basis. I am afraid, I have fear and worries and anxiety about whether my children are safe, whether they are being taught well. My son at school in 3rd grade, I am afraid if he is being bullied and I don't know it. I worry about the access he has to things as a 9-year-old that are way, way inappropriate for a 9-year-old. And despite our best efforts, at times are things slipping through the cracks. And so my 9-year-old is being exposed to things that I don't want him exposed to. I'm worried about our home safety, neighborhood safety, specific schools and districts. Where should my kiddo go? I want to know who the principal is. I want to know who my son's teacher would be if we were in this school district over here, because those are things that I worry about. I worry about the financial health of my business. I own 3 different real estate brokerages, a commercial, a residential, and then you can see the one right here. I won't plug it today too much. That's my only plug, the real estate well. I worry about the future of my companies. What is happening to them as the market shifts? I worry about my agents. Are they being fed what they need in order to survive and thrive in a changing market? I worry about competitors coming in and snatching them up, right? As we know, it happens in real estate. It is a dog eat dog, jump to different type companies, industry. I worry about these things. These are the things that I am thinking about and worrying about at night. What is your dream customer worried about? Is your dream customer worried about retirement? Do they have enough money to actually comfortably retire? Or are they going to have to continue to work until they're 70 because the cost of living continues to rise, and the last final years of our life, if you do any research on this, costs millions of dollars. So do your dream customers, are they lying in bed worried about whether they have enough money to retire when they want to retire? Are they worried about their health? What are they worried about? What are they worried that I'm in Texas? All right. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Okay. And I'm in Lubbock, Texas. So Texas Tech Red Raiders. That's my squad. Nicole, is everybody up here in Michigan? Is everybody on this crew in Michigan? No. Okay. Nicole, are you a Spartan or are you a Wolverine?
Wolverine.
Okay. All right. You're a Wolverine. So some folks like me a couple of nights ago, we were sitting in bed wondering, is Dak Prescott going to throw 3 interceptions and Tom Brady's going to kick our butt? Right? Like even something small and insignificant like as that is important to know that your dream customer is worried about. The pain points. Those are the things that get people to make a decision. People don't make decisions based on the pleasure they will receive. They make decisions based on the pain they are trying to avoid. So if I know this person is worried about X, Y, and Z, and I'm jumping ahead here a bit, but if I know that this is my dream customer's pain point and I can create content that helps alleviate their fears and remove the pain from their life, all of a sudden I, as a realtor, when they know a dozen other realtors, have become extremely valuable to my dream customer. And all of a sudden I take a step to becoming that really attractive person in the bar at the beginning of the analogy that people may come up to instead of me having to come up to them. Now let's flip it. What brings them joy? Your dream customer. What brings your dream customer happiness? What brings them pleasure? What are the things they daydream about? Now, on the pain, it's what keeps me up at night. On the pleasure side, it's what am I daydreaming about? What is your dream customer as they're sitting at work, not wanting to be there? What are the things they're daydreaming about? What are they hopeful for? What are they trying to attain? What are they trying to achieve in their life? Is it financial independence? Is it moving into the neighborhood that they've always dreamed of moving into? Is it buying that first investment property? Is it selling their current home and taking some of that money and investing in cryptocurrency? And this is a side note. This morning, Nicole, I don't know if this happens to you a lot, Lee, I don't know, but I had 3 separate messages from Bitcoin miners this morning. I have not had those in a while, so apparently that is making a comeback. But is your dream customer sitting back and hoping for what? Fill in the blank. You fill in that blank, and you should know them. And if you are having a hard time answering these questions, then that tells me you will have a hard time attracting your dream customer because you don't know them. When you know your dream customer inside and out, then, and I'm jumping ahead, you were able to tailor a message and craft content that creates the attraction so that they will come to you. A couple of other questions to answer. Oh, hey, I'm looking at all. Let's see. We got some Utah, Arkansas, Virginia, New Jersey Cowboy fan. There we go. We them boys. North Carolina, Sacramento, Ohio. Okay. All right. Go Bucks. There we go. California. That's cool. Thank you all for sharing where you're from. This is fun. Look at us coming together. This is great. Nicole, Lee, y'all created a really cool thing. Where do your dream customers like to go eat? In your marketplace, name the restaurants. Name them. Where do they eat? Where do they shop? What are the names of the boutique stores or the places where they get their suits or whatever? Where are they buying their wardrobe from? Where are their favorite places to go on vacation? Like in your community, is there a spot that a lot of people will typically travel to because that's the getaway for the people in your market? And why do they like to go there? Do they prefer the beach? Do they prefer the mountains? Does the husband prefer the beach? And I understand I'm going stereotypical here, but does the husband prefer the beach and the wife prefers the mountains? Like, what does your dream customer prefer to do and go on vacation? Our dream customer has a specific set of needs. Our dream customer has a specific set of desires. Our dream customers have a specific set of things that they are terrified of, that they are fearful of. Our dream customer probably looks and sounds a lot like you. If you'll look at your sheet of paper or whatever you have written down or typed on, you likely probably just described yourself or someone who is very similar to you. And that is the whole point of that exercise, is to show you that your dream customer probably is very, very similar to you and who you are. So for instance, if your dream customer, well, let me say this. Let me back up. If you tend to start a lot of Facebook arguments over politics or religion or whatever, like take whatever tricky thing, COVID vaccines, like whatever. If you tend to start a lot of Facebook arguments, your dream customer probably does the same thing. Whereas if you tend to avoid those types of discussions, your dream customer probably tends to avoid those kinds of things as well. If your dream customer drives, again, I'm in Texas. All right. So everybody here drives a truck. So I drive a GMC AT4X if you're a truck person. My dream customer probably drives a big truck as well, or maybe a Jeep. And it's important for me to know this, because if I post content about me putting new tires on a Jeep, my dream customer is going to enjoy that, right? Even if it's that long, which creates a connection, which builds rapport, which makes us begin to like one another. And we know that if somebody's going to hire you, they have to know you, they have to like you, they have to trust you, right? So if I post content about things that I like to do, then people are starting to know me. They're probably starting to like me. Or if they hate the content I'm posting, fine. I don't want to work with people who despise what I like anyway, because then that's just a painful, annoying transaction that makes me want to burn out, that makes me want to get out of the business eventually, right? Like if you work with let's say you close 50 homes in 2023, and 15 of those 50 are with people you absolutely hate. You can't stand them, right? Hate's a hard word, right? But it's those type of transaction that you go home and you sit down in your chair and you contemplate the meaning of life and you scratch your head and you're just like, why am I doing this? This is not fun. I would rather take those 15 and the effort and time that I put in those 15 people, and I'd rather have 5 more of my dream customer where I still have joy and happiness in my life, where I'm able to go home and I don't have to decompress from how much I hated and despised. And I'm speaking in hyperbole here, but where I don't have to decompress from the misery of working with people I don't want to work with. But again, you got to know your dream customer in and out. So I want to hear from a couple of you. Tell me about your dream customer and be specific. Whoever wants to unmute, I want to hear you. Who's your dream customer?
Chloe talked a little bit about this. Oh, I'm sorry, Chrissy. I was going to say, Chloe talked about this a little bit last week too. So it flows really well. She went through her whole ideal client, but Chrissy, tell us yours.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think I've always I'm come from a marketing background. So I always have thought about things as target markets. Here's my ideal target market, my first, my secondary, and all that. This tiny little mind shift of saying, here's my ideal client, and really getting into it on a personal level. That's what I feel is beautiful about what you're saying. It's a personal level instead of a business mindset, and both can help you get there, right? But what I feel like magic really happens when you can take it on that personal level and really relate. And so I would say my ideal customer is this demographic of, this and this, and I can tell you all that, but I just was going to say, I love this because now I'm going to go home and just like in my business journal, sit there and just think about it a lot more and connect to it, because that resonates, that energy. So I love it. So
Well, Chris, yeah, thank you for saying that. It's the personal level of, like, for me and my family, 8 months ago, we brought home a newborn baby boy. And there's obviously I'm speaking from the dad perspective, right? Like, I didn't birth him, but my wife birthed him. But there's still that incredible intimacy of the moment of bringing home your child. And where are you bringing that child to? You're bringing that child to a home, not a house, a home. That is where we have created our nest. That is where we hang out. That is where we have dinner together. That is where we play games together. That is where my son and I go in the basement and play Xbox with one another. That's where we gather to do life. And it's an intimate thing to be able to look someone in the eye who is going through a similar time period of just about to have a baby or just had a baby, and look in one another's eyes. And I can look at that dad and go, I know, I've been there. Right. And that's why I appreciate you saying this, Chrissy. That is a deeper level than target market. Right. No, this is, who are the people? What is happening in their lives? What do they value? And we really didn't even get into this aspect of it. Like, what do they value? What do they believe? What are their belief systems? And I always hesitate to go down that road because I understand that's tricky. But the value systems of what's important to them, what hills are they willing to plant their flag on and die on that hill? Like, if we can know our people that intimately, we're probably getting a good picture and window of who we are on the inside as well. But then that creates the opportunity for us to create content, which is what this is really about. And we'll shift gears here in a sec, is creating the content that then communicates to our dream customer. I am like you. I value what you value. I care about what you care about. I fear what you fear, but I also have a solution to your fear, because we're the problem solvers in real estate, right? Like, we are professional problem solvers. So I know your pain and I can solve your pain for you. And here's the content that helps you solve your pain. I hope for what you hope for, because I am like you, which is what we want, right? Like, I look in this group and even just your faces, your amazing, good looking, happy, successful faces that I see on the screen. And there's commonality here, right? Like, Nicole and Lee have created a group of people who are all focused on doing the same thing, who are all focused on becoming better humans, more successful, happier, more joy in your life, the ability to grow our business and get our freedom back, to be able to invest and to build wealth and to create a legacy for our families and all of those things. There's commonality amongst this group of people, which is why you continue to hop on these things and listen to dummies like me. Everybody else probably a dummy, but a dummy like me on a Tuesday, because you all are trying to get better. So there's commonality. You all are similar because you want the same thing. If I can understand my people, and if I can communicate to them that I understand them, then all of a sudden I'm beginning to, again, take steps to becoming the person in the middle of the bar that everybody comes to. Nicole, let me hear your person.
Oh God, I'm on the spot now. I actually started typing in the chat and then I deleted it because I was like, he's probably going to call on me. So I never really ironed out my exact person, but from what I've figured out by my transactions, I tend to, I love young couples, young families, like my age, or maybe even a little bit younger, who it's like their first time buying a home, and I can really walk them through the process. On the other flip side, I also love working with older people who are either downsizing or who haven't bought or sold a house in a really long time, and they don't know where to start. Things have changed. They've lived in this house for 20 years. They don't even know where to begin. So I like to have that. They, love a good deal. They love TJ Maxx. That's what I started typing in the chat. They love TJ Maxx. They love like quality stuff, but also like a deal on it, like Nordstrom Rack. They like having, they don't want to spend all their money, but they still want to feel like they have a really nice house, or really nice things. They feel good in their skin because they will splurge on certain things, but then they reel it in and love Target and TJ Maxx. So I think, you know, the biggest thing, I love working with people who are buying and selling at the same time, who are either, you know, probably moving up or downsizing. I feel like those are my biggest ones. I've moved away a little bit from first time home buyers just because my business has changed a little bit since I started. But I really like to be able to help them and really educate them, not only on the process, but also the house they're buying. So to alleviate some of that stress of what am I buying, you know, and I think a lot of agents just want to help with the process, not necessarily like, let's look at your house. Like, let's figure out how you're going to lay this house out. You know, where are you going to put your TV, you know, really helping them through figuring out what's going to work best for their families, not just what's going to work best, you know, today in this one house. Like, let's figure out what's going to be best for you in the long run. Like, how are we going to be able to sell this house in a couple of years? Like, making sure that they're making the right investment. So, you know, to alleviate that stress of what happens if I have to sell this house in 2 years? Am I going to get my money back?
Yeah.
Does that help? I don't know.
That's
that
great. And you know, Nicole, you top 50 on social media in Michigan for 2022. Did I see that right?
Yeah.
So first off, congratulations. Your content is fantastic already. So you're already doing the things, but in that, in everything you just said, you created a content strategy probably for the next 3 months.
Yep.
of quick 90-second reels and TikToks that you can create and put out that explain the process. I think you put one out the other day about not having to put 20% down to buy a home.
Like myths.
Right. Yes, the myths. Yes. And that's great. And that speaks to that first time home buyer or that apprehensive buyer that hasn't been through the process before, or it's been a very long time. And so they are nervous about that. Now, on the flip side, that the third time home buyer who is selling their second home, purchasing their third home, they know that already, right? They know I don't have to put 20% down, but I'm probably going to put 20% down, right? Like your third and fourth time buyers have accumulated enough equity that they're just moving equity from this house over to this house. So they're not having to come up with money out of pocket. They're putting 20% down because they're contingent, and contingencies are back. Praise the Lord. And so they get that, right? So your message speaks to a certain group that doesn't necessarily hit this group, which is not a bad thing, right? But at the same time, this group over here that already knows you don't have to put 20% down, they're seeing a professional looking video. It looks really good. You communicate very well. You obviously know what you're talking about. So while you're not necessarily targeting this group over here, you're still speaking to them. You're focused on crafting a message to these dream customers, but these people over here, they're still listening to you and they're still watching you and they're still impressed. I mean, it's a touch, right? We teach inside my brokerage a 36-4 method with your sphere. 36 times a year, they see your face very passively. 4 times a year, they see your face very directly, very intimately. So this group over here, Nicole, that knows you don't have to put 20% down, they'll still see this video and it's a touch. And again, it looks good. It sounds good. You obviously know what you're talking about. So you're still hitting this group of people and they probably have similar ideas. This group may just be 10 years ahead in life than this group over here. So they're still on the same trajectory. They're still on the same journey. They're still walking the same sidewalk. This group just is further ahead than this group. So I love that. One more person. Is anybody else willing to tell us about your dream customer?
I will.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, mine's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from you in that, as you were talking about this, I mean, doesn't it make sense to have your ideal customer be who you are? Doesn't that make things so much easier?
Absolutely.
And so Lee and I are pretty much empty nesters now. And I'm experiencing all the emotion that comes with that. Not only the emotion, but just what's the next step? What are we doing now? Well, here we are. What do we do?
Yeah.
So, just the downsizer, whether they're just, moving to a smaller space so that they can experience different things and travel more, whatever that might be, or maybe they're deciding to move to Florida where we just came back from, because we're looking at, second homes, investment properties down there. So I thought, God, what a great idea to use the resources of the people I have in Florida and share the information with people online of like, what are the best communities in different areas in Florida. Even though I'm not in Florida, I thought, wow, if I could be that Florida resource for people here, because it's happening all the time here in Michigan. People are escaping the cold for the latter part of their life. So that's my ideal client, the downsizers, the empty nesters who are looking for into the different phase of their life.
But you also, Julie, you've attained a lot of your business because of people that did like things that you like. And then one of the biggest things, we talked about this the other day, is that you got a ton of clients from the gym, people that you've exercised and have played tennis with.
Yeah,
And
that's true. So I could add that into my avatar, right?
Yeah.
The pickleball players, the gym people, the perpetual tennis players too. Yeah, I mean, I did, like, a lot of my business last year was from the gym or referrals from the gym. And so how cool to do things you love and create business from it. But yeah, I
Yes.
think that whole downsizer, clientele is my avatar. For
And
sure.
let me add one thing. So one of our agents, Cindy Myers, she lives in Fort Myers, and she lives in it's not a 55 plus community, but it's a golf, tennis community. And she gets all of her business from playing tennis and pickleball and
Inside of it.
doing all those
Yeah.
things. So she is the agent for that whole community. And it was funny because I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, what do you do on a daily basis? Like, do you cold call or do anything? She goes, no, I got my 10:15 tennis tomorrow. And that's where I'll talk with Susie, whose brother's looking to buy a house, move from, wherever. And that's how she gets all of her business. And what John was talking about at the beginning was your ideal customer is someone that, that fits right into what she does.
It's who you are. I think it makes it so much clearer in your head when people say design your ideal customer. Well, why not have it be who you are? It's so easy.
So I have one question for John. So I'm going to put you on the spot. And we have some younger agents here, and you had talked about agents that want to be in a different market than they are currently. Like, how can they? I know that for you had difficulties because you couldn't grow a beard. But I'm just joking. But what advice do you give? Because I know we have some 20-something agents on this call right now. Like, what advice do you give them to kind of step outside? Because I see a lot of them make mistakes because they're going after a demographic that is not going to get them. It's such an entry level that it's going to be difficult for them to do enough transactions to really make a decent living. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That's a great question. And really that's a perfect segue into the last section that we've got here is so now what, right? And I think the now what part, Lee, will answer the question for the 20 somethings. And I love the 20 somethings agent. I think you all are in a market and primed to absolutely obliterate any record of any top agent that you've ever known. Social media is such a beautiful blessing and gift. And if you can utilize it correctly, and one of the things we'll talk about here in just a minute is the social side of what do I do now and the in-person side of what do I do now, because there's both, right? Like we can't just solely be a social media agent. We've got to have a footprint in our community, a physical footprint inside of our community. So Lee, if you'll let me, if answer the question in this last part, and if I don't answer it well, then put me back on the spot, man.
Okay.
And Julie, to your point, I love that you led with you're going through the emotion of empty nester, right? Like yes, it's a physical thing that your children move out and move away, but the emotion of it, which is the antithesis of the emotion of the newborn coming home, right? And I'm terrified of the day that we're an empty nester. Being a dad is my favorite part of life. I love it. If I give up everything else and still be a dad, then I'll be a happy man. But to be able to speak, Julie and Lee, on the emotion that you're going through, because there are people that need to link with you, that are hiring some dumb butt that doesn't know what they're doing, but you know what you're doing. And if authentically there's a way, whether it's in person or on social, that you are able to discuss and communicate the emotion of what you're going through in that phase of your life, those people, boom, they're in, they're yours. You didn't talk about real estate. You didn't ask them a single question. You did not ask them to give you anything. All you did was discuss what you're going through and the emotion and the feeling. And anytime I meet a new dad right now, I mean, we're best friends immediately. It's like stepbrothers. Did we just become best friends? Like, yo, you're a new dad. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I am too, for the second time. And I don't care if we don't connect on anything else, we connect on that because it's deep seated. It is the crux of life. And you all are experiencing the opposite of that, which is probably even more emotional on the opposite side, right? So I love that you brought that up. Okay. Very quickly, wrap up. I said I couldn't do it in 45 minutes because I couldn't talk that long, but here I am rambling. Let me finish up here. Okay. To answer Lee's question, you have to ask yourself this question: where are your dream customers at? Where are they? And I'm talking on social and I'm talking physically. So we've identified who they are. We've identified where they shop. We identified where they eat. We identified where they vacation. We identified their pains and their pleasures. Now we need to identify, where are they? From a social media standpoint, are your dream customers, what platforms are they on? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on LinkedIn? And most people are not prevalent on all of those platforms, right? Like, your dream customer probably latches onto one or two of those platforms, but where are they engaging? What platform are they going to? Because the platform that they go to is going to drive the type of content that you create, right? Like, if they are on TikTok, right? So our 20 somethings, they're on TikTok, you're creating a very different type of content piece than if your dream customer is spending all day on YouTube or all day on Facebook. So if they're on TikTok, then you're creating a 90-second, quick cut, fast-paced piece of content discussing their pains, allaying their fears, speaking to their pleasures, or showing that you are at the restaurant that they like to eat at, so that they can connect with you and they know that you like what they like, and therefore they like you. If your dream customer, and I'm doing this quick because I know we're out of time, if your dream customer is on Twitter, so like for me, a company that I also own, it is a media company for Texas Tech athletics. I'm passionate about Texas Tech. I love Texas Tech athletics. And so Twitter is huge for NCAA athletics. For those of you that are diehard into NCAA collegiate athletics, you know Twitter's the spot. That's where they are. So I spend a ton of time on Twitter just talking about Texas Tech athletics. We'll do interviews with players, which gets lots of views and lots of traction. And I will use that as a recruiting tool into my brokerage. I will use that as a recruiting or a way to grow the brand of our brokerage. It has nothing to do with my brokerage. It's Texas Tech athletics, but I know my people that are passionate about Texas Tech as well are all over Twitter. Therefore, I'm posting on Twitter about Texas Tech, and I'm engaging with other accounts that are big into Texas Tech athletics because it grows my footprint. You have to identify, where are they? What platforms are they on? And then Nicole does a better job on social media than I do. She can help you, guide you on, okay, on this platform, you need to post this type of content. This platform, you need to post this type of content. That's a whole other thing. Physically, in your community, where do your dream customers hang out? Where do they go? Because the footprint inside of your community is just, in my opinion, is just as important as the footprint you have on social media. They need to balance each other out. If you are not actively involved in your community, then as Tom Ferry talks about, you'll be a secret agent, right? Nobody will know about you. Nobody will know that you exist. Whereas the agents in your market, and maybe you are that person that is just all over the place in your local community, you are known. Some people may not like you, and that's fine. We're not going to work with them anyway, but you're known, and the people that do like you, they trust you. Therefore, they will come to you when they are ready to buy or sell a home, instead of you having to go and hunt them down all the time. So if I know my dream customer eats at XYZ restaurant, where do you think I'm going on a Friday night? I'm going to XYZ restaurant. And if it's fancy, I'm putting on a nice blazer and I'm looking good, right? So for you 20 somethings, one of the things I had to do is I had to start upping the way I appeared in public. I had to start dressing better. I had to up my vocabulary and get much better at communication. I had to get better at looking people in the eye with a better handshake. All of these body language and psychological things that you might not think are really important actually become extremely important. If you are 25 and you look 25 and you sound 25, then you're going to attract 25-year-olds. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as 25-year-olds in your market are buying and selling homes. If they are not buying or selling homes, then you probably need to up your game just a bit. Ryan Serhant talks about this a lot. If you're a fan of Ryan Serhant, when he first got started, he had to learn real quick, whoa, I got to present myself a lot different because this Manhattan crew, they don't care that I was on what was it, a soap. He was on the soaps. He had a TV show. They didn't care about that. They wanted somebody that looked the part, dressed the part, sounded the part. And look the part, dress the part, sound the part is different in different communities. In Lubbock, Texas, you can't be too fancy. If you're too fancy, people don't trust you. If Ryan Serhant were to come and plant himself in Lubbock, Texas, no one would hire him because they wouldn't trust him. They'd think you look a little bit sleazy. Why are you dressed so well? In some markets, it's got to be the opposite. But I digress a bit there. I got to know where my dream customers are hanging out. I coach my son's basketball and baseball team. And guess what? Or guess who was around those games? My dream customers, because they're parents of other 9-year-olds. So I have an important role in other people's 9, 10-year-old lives as I coach them and as I help them grow up and mature. And so I am out and about in the community, having a footprint, having an impact on other people's lives, never bringing up real estate until they bring it up to me. And therefore, I have attracted my dream customer. Now, I am so out of time, but let me make a couple more points. Point number 1, people want to work with people that are like them. So you got to know what you're like. You have to know yourself. You have to be extremely self-aware, look in the mirror and understand who you are. What do you value? What do you care about? What do you believe? What are you worried about? What are your pain points and the things that you hope for, you daydream about, the pleasures that you are seeking to attain? Where do you like to vacation? Where do you like to shop? What matters to you? People want to work with those that are like them. That's step number 1. Step number 2, where are they? Physically hang out where they are, and on social media, create content that allays their fears. So if I'm afraid of my son's safety in school, maybe I should watch a video of a realtor who is interviewing the principal of the school, discussing the safety protocols of that school. As one example, don't overdo real estate. Don't overdo real estate on your social. Don't do it. Don't ask people for anything more than once a year. Otherwise, you're sleazy and people will be annoyed by you. And again, that's just my opinion. But as Julie pointed to and Chrissy pointed to as well, like once you understand this concept of your dream customer, you don't have to ask. People will ask you. You won't have to go hunt people down. People will come to you. So when you show what you care about, when you show what's happening in your life, when you show people what you're doing on a daily basis through stories and posts, when you get out and about in the community, when you be your true, authentic self, and this is the beauty of a highly successful realtor, is they're super authentic and they're just themselves everywhere they go. They don't put on a face. They don't put on a show. They're themselves on social media. They're themselves in person, but they create content that's important to them. I'll post pictures of my kiddos. I'll post pictures of me coaching their games, and I'll post some real estate stuff every now and then. It's not real estate, like I'm a walking billboard that just annoys people. I'll show them that I'm a dad, that I'm a husband, that I'm a coach, that I enjoy playing golf, that I love Texas Tech, that I like the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, and you're going to see some good real estate content in there as well, because I need you to trust me. But people will link up with you when they know who you are and they know what you like. So post who you are, post what you like, show people what you're doing in a day. If you are struggling, Julie, with the emotion of the fact that your kiddos are gone and you're willing to share that, share it.
Oh, she
Because
shared it all
your
right.
dream customer is going to latch onto that. Sorry, Lee.
I said she shared it all right. She posted a picture of me like with my youngest daughter as she was leaving, and I'm like bawling like a 2-year-old. And but it was great because it was it was completely authentic. Like at first I'm like, why would you post that?
He
But
was
then there
so
was
mad. He
so
was
much
so mad.
engagement and so many
Yeah.
people were like, oh my God, I know what you're going through. And it was great. Like I had so many people, I had 10 people private message me saying, hey, my youngest just went, and it actually established like I had 2 buddies reach out that I hadn't talked to in a while. I was like, hey, we need to go grab a beer, because
Yep.
they're part of the empty nester club,
Yep. Yep.
So the point is, Lee, you can't be afraid to be vulnerable and show that side of you. My daughter texts me, she's like, you did dad dirty. So
Well, but that authenticity is so huge. And that's, how do you attract your dream customer? By being yourself, by being authentic, by understanding
True.
who you are and showing the world, showing people on social and in real life who you are, and just being authentic with it. And then you will find that people will flock to you. The right people will flock to you. And then all of a sudden the business gets really, really fun and fantastic. And that's all I got.
Hey, John, why don't you tell us about the real estate will? Because I know that you had brought it up briefly. So just tell us about that real quick.
Sure. So I used to do real estate coaching and found that I really wasn't that passionate about that side of it. I'm much more passionate about the training side, presenting the information and giving the nuggets. And you find somebody locally that you can link up with who can hold you accountable, which is really a coaching is accountability at the end of the day. So the real estate well, it is in the process of being birthed, if you will. It is baking like that newborn baby was baking for a while. So the real estate well, its point and purpose is a training program, a place where you can, as an agent, go and get what you need for the day, which is the idea of a well. Right back in the day, the well provided water. You go and get your water for the day to cook your food and to clean your clothes and to drink and do all those things. But you just get what you need for the day and go about your business. So the real estate well, and again, it is in the process of being birthed very soon. And Nicole will see, she follows me on social media. When that baby's birth, you're gonna hear all about it. But the point of it is, okay, I need more content or more ideas on how to generate leads based off of X, Y, and Z platform. Okay, cool. There that is in the well, grab it and go. Instead of having to go through a 100-hour course where I can't ever find what I need, it's okay, boom, I can go pick this out. All of those things. So that's just kind of in a nutshell. The idea of the real estate well is, what do you need today? Go get it. What you need today is different than what you're going to need tomorrow. Great. That's cool. Come back to the well, get what you need tomorrow, get what you need next week. Not coaching, but it's training and tools and resources.
I love it. My takeaways were, because we're launching, Modern Agent Blueprint is launching a product called Town Sites. And it's really all about hyper local, and you really need to be the go-to person in your community. And you had two points, the footprint in the community, which I think is vitally important. And then you need to be actively involved in your community. Those 2 things that you said are dead on, and it's really important you need to be top of mind when people are trying to decide who they want to work with within their local community.
Love it. Love it.
Well, thank you so much, John. This was awesome. I don't know how you thought you were only going to be able to talk for 20 minutes. That was like flawless. That was great.
I get to rambling. I don't know how to shut up sometimes, but thank you very much, Nicole. And thank you everybody for giving me the honor of coming and hanging out with you all. Hopefully there was a nugget or 2 you can take to make your business better.
A ton of nuggets. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It was great. And then I want to talk to you about the real estate well too, because I have
Sounds
some
great.
ideas. We can work together.
Yeah, I love it. Let's connect. Nicole, can you get us connected?
I will.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday with another Modern Agent Blueprint.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Everyone. Bye.